Hey folks, it's your man in Japan here with my friend Sebrin, who's actually the reason that I'm here because he got married about a week ago and it's birthday today. Yes. Happy birthday, Sebrin.
Thank you.
All right, so we're starting out here. We're in front of the Surugaya specialty store, which is in front of Akihabara Station, and they've got a pretty good basement that's full of video games. I actually think they've started putting their modern games on the first floor. But starting here, we're gonna be going left. We're gonna be heading up towards the station, and we're gonna try and hit what I think is every retro store that I know of in Akihabara. I know Sebrin, so you've been to Mandarake. Did you go to Super Potato?
Yes. Yeah, we went there. It was packed. It's been...
Super Potato's been rough. Like, it's really hard to find games there, and it's packed with foreigners. But it was like all foreigners, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And the prices are a little high.
I think they're at least like twice as expensive as what I see in other places. Like, I'm talking literally. Like, there's stuff I've seen for like 80,000 yen in like Trader will go for like 160,000 in Super Potato.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance SPs, they're all like Ichiman or more.
Oh my, yeah, their Super Potato gets really disgusting. They used to be really good for Sega Saturn for like a hot second, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So this is where the magic happens. This is the big street, and on Sundays actually, they will close down most of this street and they'll just make it like, what do they call it? They call it like a Sampo Tenkoku, like a walker's paradise. I like to call it pedestrian free-for-all. But they do that over in Ginza too, where they just block off some of the road entrances. Oh, watch out for the road. Don't need to die for a YouTube video. But I think first we're gonna head for Super Potato. I wonder if the maids are gonna be out. That might be for the weekend.
That was one.
Oh.
Storefront though.
Okay, yeah. No, so what, and this is a real evolution, because when I was here in 2012, like there was none of that. Like, you would just come to Akihabara and there wouldn't be too many people around. But then like 3 to 4 years later, you just saw all of these maids just lining the roads. All right, we're gonna go here. And it's very, very sad day. That used to be a Sega arcade over there. Sega used to have a bunch of arcades in Akihabara, but they got out of the business, and now it's a Gigo. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But that's happening. Yeah. I think the machines are mostly the same. I think they've just changed the branding. And it's a real shame because Sega got its start as an arcade manufacturer. And I think they were like based in Hawaii for a while. But that was a long time ago. But now, I mean, when's the last time you've been in an arcade, Sebrin? I think it's...
I mean, just recently, last few
Oh yeah?
weeks.
Well, I guess when people are visiting, that's when you go.
Yeah, and then I think last April, but there's no one here. Other than
Oh, well, okay, yeah, like a year ago, yeah.
It was back in April when the borders were so closed for everyone.
Well, because when did the borders open to tourism? That was like, what, 6 months ago? It was relatively recent.
Yeah, I think it was October, somewhere around there. And it's just been like nonstop, like growing. So we need a number.
It definitely does seem like it's getting back to where it was before, but like, 2019. Like, it's not quite as bad, but it's getting there. And it feels like there's a lot of pent-up demand for a lot of people who wanted to come to Japan over the last 3 years and just couldn't.
These areas are like swelling up too. It's just
yeah.
Like everyone's hitting these spots instead of spreading out through the country. So it's like totally different.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where people would diversify throughout the country.
Because I remember where we lived in Saga, like, you did not see foreigners out there, except on occasion. Yeah, it was it was just us and like 4 other people.
Like 2 people that lived there.
Yeah. Watch out for that car, but if you look over on the left, that's one of Trader's extra buildings. That's actually very good for modern games over there on the left, but our attention's gonna be over on the right. Now at night, you would see both sides of this street would be lined. You can kind of see one over there with the different maids advertising their cafes. I'd also recommend, if you look up into the left, there's a Kotobukiya store. I have a friend that works there. Well, not at the store, but she works for Kotobukiya. And they make some very good, although a little bit pricey, figures, statues, model kits, but they're very good. Their Metal Gear series is pretty good. But on our right, we're gonna look at Super Potato, which is the classic. I think that's the retro game shop that started it all. I remember when I first came to Japan and I first went to Super Potato, you walk down this really weird and long hallway that's like barely lit.
It was definitely sketchy. I mean, I was back in 2012 as well. I stumbled upon it. I didn't hear about it ever. I saw it and I was like, oh, this is cool.
So we're just going to dip in for a second, but as you can see, it's very sketchy. It's just this long corridor. And I thought I was like, oh, is this where I'm going to be murdered? Like, what's on the end of this for me?
You just have to commit, man.
I committed, and I had a good first experience with Super Potato, but I barely ever buy anything from there because the prices are so bad.
Yeah, shop around before and really look for everything in each store before you commit to a purchase.
That's what I would recommend. Maybe hold on, let's try and get in front of this dude.
There's a super cool Warhammer store over there.
Oh
too.
yeah, that's right. So it's not only a Warhammer store, it's a Warhammer Cafe.
Yeah.
I'll just try and get a shot of it over there, which I think is a world first. I've been to a bunch of Warhammer stores. I have never been to a Warhammer Cafe.
Yeah, there's people playing in there, and there's like you do all your painting there and just like hang out.
Yeah, which is really nice because I've been into Warhammer since middle school, and when I got to Japan, it like barely existed, but now it's huge, almost as huge as the Mandarake Akihabara complex. I think that's what they call it.
Yep.
But it's like 8 stories tall. It's got comic books, action figures, other toys, anime statues. I want to say, is it the 6th floor? Yeah. If we look at the map here, you might have to take the stairs because the elevators get kind of crowded.
Yep.
But on the 6th floor, you will find the video games. And actually, I think this is one of the lesser frequented stores here in Japan. So they actually do have games, but if they are in good condition, oh boy, are they going to be expensive.
Everything's boxed too.
Oh yes.
Sealed up. Everything's sealed. You can't look at anything, browse.
Yeah, it's a bit impenetrable, Mandarake, I find. But I would say Mandarake is the collector's collector shop. Like, I think it's probably the best place if you are like a hardcore collector, because this is where you'll find things in the best condition.
Yep. Oh yeah, totally.
And they've got like, they're pretty harsh. Like they've got like, it's like an ABC ranking, and it's like if it has like just a little scratch, boom, C.
I was watching a guy look at like Hot Wheels cars, and they were investigating it, like every single detail, like with a Jim's little like telescope thing.
Yeah, with one of those little like jeweler's loops where you're like looking for the little imperfections. Okay, I think we might have to go a block over. This is where I usually get confused as to where I am. But yeah, we'll end up going a block over to get to Surugaya and Beep. Oh yeah, have you been in Beep?
No, I haven't been to Beep.
Okay, we'll go to Beep if they're open. There's random days.
Good. I usually turn right and just go to Main Street. So
okay.
I haven't been down the street too much.
Okay, there's some of these stores just have like random days where they're closed, and it's almost always the day you want to go. That's when they're closed, in my experience. But yeah, after this, I'll take Seabird into Beep, but we'll at least pass by it. So Beep is known mostly for its arcade boards, its old Japanese computers, and it does have a little bit of a retro console section. But on this, I don't think there's anything on this street here that's particularly exciting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the right, kind of maneuver around a little bit. I might even, if we have the chance, it's not, this kebab place could be good, but there's one that I know for sure I used to always go to when I was visiting Akihabara. I just can't remember which part of the street it is. There's also a very good ramen shop around here, but I don't know. Ah, there we go, yes. Star Kebab is very good. Highly recommend. I don't know if it's open or not. Okay, so let's go to the left. Ah yes, here's Beep. Beep is great.
Not been.
All right, well, we'll go. Oh, they're closed on Wednesdays.
Good.
But thankfully, today is a Tuesday, dating this video. Highly recommend it for its old stuff. And of course, right next door is the Akihabara location of Surugaya. Inside there, you can get some very good deals. I did notice the other day that their showcase was stuffed full of games, although the problem is And maybe you've noticed this, Sebring, is when you see the showcases of games, everything is packed so tightly you don't know what the fuck anything is.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially if you can't read like the kanji, which is even difficult because the name kanji is almost impossible to read in Japan, even if you're Japanese. But aside from that, just trying to read the kana, it's so hard. It's so freaking difficult.
Pull every single label.
Yeah.
I look at every spine.
That's the thing, is that if you want to like know what's in there, you've got to read every single spine, because up until recently, like, you know, like PlayStation labels, they're just white with like black text, so they're not very exciting.
Yep. Nope.
I don't think they figured that out until like the GameCube era. Oh, and then I should take you into Friends. Well, Friends, I think Friends' best days are behind it. Friends is a little hole in the wall. They have no web presence, no social media. They don't let anybody take pictures or videos in there. But they, for the longest time, had like the best deals on video games. I used to buy tons and tons of games from Friends. But having now been in Japan for the last 2 weeks, I gotta say, I've been a couple times now. They don't have that much anymore. So we're now approaching the edge of Akihabara. I would say this is essentially the end. And while we won't cross the street, the last vestige of Friends, sort of like an exclave, the last exclave of Akihabara is Friends, right across the street. I'll point it out. You can see here we've got the subway station there. And right over there, I'm gonna use my finger, the door to Friends is over there, but I'm not gonna waste any time and try to get to the door. There's also like a weird massage parlor like in the same building. I would skip that, just go straight to Friends. Next, I'll point out Mak Japan, which is a really cool arcade store, and if it's open, I will also take Sebring to Mak.
Okay.
It's very cool. They've got a bunch of Neo Geo MVS boards in there, which is really impressive. Oh, excuse us. Let's see, Mak. Ah, there it is. Okay, I will try and get past these trees and I will try to point out Mak. But they also don't let people take pictures or video in Mak Japan. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it that if you want an arcade game, the place you're probably going to find it, if you're gonna find it anywhere at all, is going to be Mak Japan. It's on like the 7th floor of that building over there. You can see the sign.
Oh yeah, we went
up there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been to Mak? Oh cool, yeah, Mak is great. I mean, the only place I know of to actually find arcade board parts, or like, you know, the different, like if you need to fix up your arcades, buttons or the sticks, they've got replacement parts from Sanwa. So I think Beep mostly is just boards, but it's not a ton of parts. And you can also find arcade boards at the Surugaya specialty store that we just looked at about a block away from here. Oh, have you been to Retro Game Camp?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it's basically like trying to be Super Potato, but the prices are about as absurd.
Okay.
They used to have 2 places. I don't know if they still have it, but they also had a place called Retro Camp Dungeon, which was just their basement, but it was almost like a completely different store.
Okay.
But that was because they came out, they like opened up in like 2015. Like that was when retro gaming was like peaking. Like that was when you had everybody coming to Akihabara and just scooping up all of these games. And so they could support not only just one new location, but 2 whole new locations here in Akihabara. Now, I don't think you should come all the way to Japan just for Caesarea, but I'm a big fan of Caesarea. They've got cheap white wine, and their Italian food is not perfect, but it is cheap, even for Japan.
And if it's not there, it's Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan's restaurant.
Yeah,
sort of like
that one.
It's sort of like an Applebee's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not too. It's
not great, but not like, you know, in Japanese terms. I would say it's significantly better than Applebee's.
Yeah.
Now, see, there used to be. So this is Retro Game Camp, right here. What happened to Dungeon? I didn't see it.
One of them, they tore down this building. I don't remember what was over there.
Huh.
This building, I think, had games.
One of these, huh? I'm gonna have to double check, but I think, yeah, they might have gotten rid of Dungeon. But then my favorite, well, this used to be my favorite, but the shelves are empty, is Trader.
The Trader has a lot of stuff.
Trader is great. It's always good for modern games here on the first floor, but the place you really want to go to is up on the second floor, up there. That's where you'll see the retro game showcase. They also have some imports as well. All right, well, I think we're gonna call it here because we've hit, I think, every store that I can think of. And so with the final view of this street here, I have been your man in Japan, Jay Contra, here with my friend Sebrin, saying thanks for watching, see you next time, and mahalo.